This is Intake. This is Operation Sportswagon, and today we're finally adding race car parts. It's 12 o'clock somewhere. Today we've got WRX front seats, they go in here. WRX front brakes, they go down there. And they're probably going to take about 3 beers. One for the seats and one each for the brakes. The beers today were bought by Nick Fortawin from Brisbane. Thanks Nick, what a top fucking bloke. And we're going to probably knock those down over the course of the afternoon. So this is my first. I better go mark this one on the board. So while we're at the fridge, we're going to add in the cost of the seats, we'll add in the cost of the brakes. And I've also sold the original wheels off the Subaru Outback, so we get to deduct that from our total, add it back into the total. We get an extra $150 to play with. Like we'll need it, it'll beat a BRZ. So the brakes, for the front brakes, they were $220. The seats were also $220, but we've sold the original wheels for $150. So a bit of quick math, $830. We've still got $830 to play with after today's project. That's pretty fucking good. Sure beats paying for a BRZ. Right, no time for finger banging your missus. Let's get into it. Right, we're not here to fuck spiders. Let's get into it. I haven't got another one. Right, there's no time to tug your Taipan. Let's get into it. So the seats we've chosen for WRX 911, 2002, the Bug-Eye WRX front seats. The reason we picked those is the price point. They're cheap as chips. If you've got a couple of $100 redos spare, you pick up a pair of these from pretty much any Japanese or import wrecker. They bolt straight into pretty much any Subaru of this era. So if you've got a Liberty, a Legacy, Outback, Forester, or an Impreza, these will bolt straight in. It'll make your family hauler or your grocery getter feel like a much sportier car. We'll check out if they're lighter weight or not than what's in here. But the other reason we picked them is that the material pretty much matches what's in the car already, so that we don't have them standing out too far, which is sort of why we tried to find a base model of this Outback when I bought it. Because if you get the upper models, sorry, I'm looking at a cat. I fucking hate cats. Get out of here, you bastard. Sorry about that, I was distracted by some pussy in my driveway. So as I was saying, the reason we bought the base model is that it's got hasn't got the leather interior, hasn't got a beige interior. It's like a dark brown, but it's close enough to match this seats. Now you can do this job at home. All you need is a 14mm spanner or ratchet or socket. That is it. That is all you need. So the only good thing about having an auto in this car is that you get an extra cup holder to put your beer. Only while working on your car, not while driving. So if you've seen us installing seats in Project Z, then you'll know exactly how they go in this, because it's exactly the same. There's 2 bolts at the front, there's 2 bolts at the back. So all you have to do, you undo the bolts, front bolts one at a time. Hot tip for the day, store your bolts in a pattern that resembles where they've come out of. So this one being the front right, we'll put that in a position that when we get them all out, in the front right, just so they're going back into the same holes they come out of. No one likes to go into a different hole. Do people like going into a different hole? Anyway, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So I've got the front 2 bolts out now. We're going to move the seat forwards, tilt it forwards, and then I can get to the back 2. Maybe I should just go through the back door. That's not what she said. It's tight in the back. So now that we've got all the bolts undone from the seat, we get to pull it out and see what goodness is. Hang on, is there a wire? There is a wire. Must be an airbag wire. We don't need airbags in sports cars. Need coilovers. All right, now we get to fuck this off. Right. And looks like we might have to vacuum in here before we put the seats in. I don't even know what that is. Is that Aero Bar? There's chocolate. There's lint from somebody's belly button. This is pretty gross, actually. Like every other car that I pull seats out of. It's gross. Hot tip for everyone playing along at home. Maybe once every couple of years, pull your seats out your car, just vacuum underneath there. As always, the passenger side is lather, rinse and repeat. Now I'm not going to show you how to take out the 4 bolts on this side, because if you can't figure that out, you shouldn't be working on cars. More human slime. So here's a step most of you won't have to do at home. Now because these seats that I've bought didn't come with the seatbelt clicker-a-doos, what I'm going to do is just undo them from there. Same 14mm spanner or socket or ratchet or whatever you want to call it that you used before. Keep everything in order and just transfer it straight back across. Right, now that's torque to spec, because these are supposed to move. Just so that if you're really fat, you can move it out the way, and if you're really thin, you can button it up closer to you or whatever. Okay, so now that our WRX seat is ready for installation, we can fuck off that one. Land it up the right way. Bring it in from the rain. Oh, I've got a bit of mud on it too. Anyone want to buy a seat, you can have it. So this just proves that Subaru originally designed the Outback to be the WRX, because even the Outback airbag harness just bolts straight onto the WRX seat. Look at that, straight on there, just like factory. Might be a shed part, but I'm betting that this seat was originally designed to go in an Outback. Now, as much as the grime in here adds character, I'm not really keen to do a ride along with an old chocolate bar, some sultanas and the leftovers of a tampon packet. So what we're going to do is get the shop vac out. Ooh. Love those sucking noises. And take out all the filth, because this is gross as. Oh, we're in here, we may as well just suck off the rest of the car. Vacuum your flaps. Oh fuck. So I've just vacuumed up one of the bolts. Hot tip for the day, don't leave your bolts, I'll move the other ones, on the floor where your vacuum can get to them. I better go and put my hand through that human slime. That's fuck. And now we're ready to install our new seats. Oh, feels sporty already, and they're not even in. Okay. This is the hardest part, because what you don't want to do is just ruin the paint with the rails. Okay, got to find where they go. Installation, always the reverse of removal. So doing in the back bolts first. Remember, don't cross thread them. So we had to fuck around for a bit. We ended up getting the backs in, then loosening the backs off, getting the fronts in, loosening them off, getting them all coordinated square. When you got the seat rails sitting on the concrete and you're sitting on them and you're moving the frame rails and all that, it kind of puts everything off kilter. Another hot tip, too many hot tips today. Don't fuck around with your seats when they're not in the car. Otherwise you're just gonna have a hell of a time getting bolt-in seats to bolt in. So what I'm gonna do now, just tighten up the bolts of this seat. And we'll probably have a fun time with the passenger seat. It hasn't taken me that long. It's been like 2 minutes. 14mm, do it up to spec. Remember, you're sitting in these things, you don't want them to go flying out the window. Oh, fucking hell. So I'm just doing up the last of the bolts for the front seat. Really give him a wrist to work out today. Straight to sleep tonight. Fit in this actually. And torque to spec. Just like that, we've installed a new driver's seat in our Subaru WRX 911 non-turbo. Looks fucking awesome. This looks sportier than a BRZ already. Momo steering wheel, WRX seat, ready to go rally driving, I reckon. Now I've got nice driving position. Hugs me in. Ooh. A little bit higher up, but that's good. Good for visibility for when you're racing. I like it. Let's do the passenger seat. See, it matches. Matches. And just like that, we've installed our new front seats. Precisely 1 beer. Word of warning, if you're a pretty tall fella, over 6 foot, just remember these are a little bit closer to the roof. And we're back after lunch. I just smashed a kilo of buffalo wings upstairs thanks to the missus. We're ready to install our WRX brakes on our WRX 911 Turbo Sportage Kia Outback Subaru. And to do that, what we're going to do is crack the nuts on the front wheel, jack the car up, take the wheel off, and then get into installing the brakes. You know the deal. Remember to keep your nuts somewhere safe. I like to keep mine in my jocks, but these ones are going in the tray. Still pretty impressed with this car because there's not a hell of a lot of rust under here. Just oil everywhere. Even these struts have oil. But that's okay because we're going to fuck those off anyway when we get our sweet coilovers. Overnight parts from Japan, of course, which are going to take a month to get here. Put the wheels aside. Now we can see what we're working with. These discs and these discs are the same. And these ones have got more left in them. So we can reuse those, which saves us having to take them off, put those on. That's really not accurate at all. You know what? They're the same. To take our brake calipers off, there's 2 bolts. Shit. At least I didn't spill my beer. This is quite good looking into here because we can actually see what we're working with when it comes time to do the coilovers. A couple of bolts here. Well, it doesn't look like a hell of a lot of work, so we should be having a fun time at least when we do the fronts. There's a lot of thread on this bolt. Either that or I'm just spinning it in the same spot over and over and over. Hey! So swapping over brakes really isn't that hard. Like the hardest part's sort of bleeding them. Like you can do this at home even if you're not overly confident on doing brakes. And be prepared to spill a little bit of brake fluid. Dropped a fucking pad out. Good thing we're not using those. Northern Australia supplied us with some new brake fluid, which is great. So what we're going to do is catch our old brake fluid. Note to self, undo this bolt before I undo the caliper on the other side. This one says left on it. That one doesn't have left or right on it, but I'm assuming it's the same. So that's how you fuck off the brake caliper from a 2000 and something Outback. If anyone wants these brake calipers, they're a pretty good upgrade for anything other than a WRX or a Outback. I reckon that this is the same size. If I go like that, right, straight across there, 10 inches. If I do it across there, 10 inches, at the same size, they're the same size. What we're going to do, hang on, what about the thickness? I'll use the millimetre size. It's like 24 millimetre. They're the same, they're the same. Oh, just got brake fluid in it as well. We'll keep that for later because they're still probably good to us. And just like that, we've got our new brake disc caliper, our new brake setup set in place. So what we're going to do quickly is just bolt our brake line into position so we don't lose too much more fluid because I'm getting it everywhere. So I've just realised something. I said that this was a 2-beer job. I may as well enjoy the first one now that I've nearly finished the first side. I think the main thing to focus on here, if you're not really confident in doing this kind of job yourself, is just to do them up fucking tight, because if they fall off, you're pretty much fucked. Definitely the spec. Whatever spec is, it's tight. You know the Vin Diesel meme, torque to spec, cross-threaded, tight's tight. Now while we're on the subject of brakes, let's talk about bleeding. Everything gets to a certain age where things start to, no. There's a bleed screw on the caliper with some fluid to go in there. We're going to turn the car on, pump the brakes a bit, and I'll probably get the cameraman to give us a hand just to pump the brakes while I do and undo. There is no try, just do the bleed screw up and get the air out of the system from that side, because that's sort of, I'm hoping that there's just that amount in there, because that's all we've undone at the time. Oh, bit of a burp. There's a lot of air in those Sapphoros. So now that we've bled the driver's side brake, what we're going to do is top up the brake reservoir with this nylon brake fluid. It's a DOT4, and it also has a boiling point of 280 degrees, which is great for any sports car. Now we're going to have to use more of this for when we do the passenger side, but we've got plenty of it there. There's still a little bit of air in the system, as you can see what's coming out the bubbles. So while we're here, before we put the wheel back on, we're just going to clean the brakes up with another nylon product, their brake cleaner. And just take off all the grease, all the shit. We'll just wipe the excess off the painted surfaces. Now we're pretty much ready for our wheels to go back on. Well, our wheel to go back on. Oh shit. There's an issue. I shit you not, there is an issue. I'm just going to say. Hopefully, no, maybe it's not real. It's not a real issue. Every Subaru part fits every Subaru car. No one has ever said anything about different wheels. Fuck, that is super close. Might be getting the angle grinder out. Good news everyone, I've got to get the angle grinder out and just grind off that Subaru line. That's pretty fucked. It just that the wheel does not fit the WRX brakes. Hot tip for everyone out there, if you've got these wheels, don't put WRX brakes on your car. You know what's ironic, is I bought these wheels to fit WRX brakes in there because they're big enough to fit WRX brakes. And then they don't fit. But they only just don't fit. Like, all I gotta do, in theory, is just take off some of this line. It only needs like a bee's dick of clearance. This is the same issue I had on the 300ZX. Same thing, like, because they had the lines, like for the Nissan logo, not the lines. They had the Nissan logo, and I ended up getting like a 2mm spacer. Actually, do I have a spacer? I think I've got a spacer. I'll check. Remember when I took that spacer off the rear wheels on the 300ZX? In the episode where we installed big ass tyres on the rear, we removed like a 3mm spacer. I think we might be getting it back out again. Success, we have a 2mm spacer. If it fits. And it does fit. Yes! That makes me so happy. I feel so triumphant. Word of the day. I thought we had failed at everything. Now, let's see what happens. Oh, it doesn't seem to be hitting anything. I don't want to tighten them too tight, just in case I don't have to take them off again, but I don't want to forget to tighten them up later on, just in case they fall off, because that would suck. Oh fuck, it's still really close. Maybe I need a bigger one. Like, that's so bizarre. That should not be hitting. What the fuck? fuck is it hitting? Right, it's absolutely hitting. All I wanted to do was get the wheels that I wanted for the price I wanted. She wouldn't sell them to me, so I had to buy these wheels, which are 18s, not 17s, and they don't fit. Well, I guess if you're gonna build a sports car for under 2 grand, you're gonna have some hiccups on the way. Welcome to my fucking hiccup. Alright, so we're gonna have to finish the episode there because I can't get these wheels to fit over the brakes. I've already shaved down the line on the Subaru logo, and it just won't fit. Like I said, all Subaru parts fit on every Subaru, except for these fucking wheels, which don't fit on these brakes. So, what I'll do is I'll head down the shop, I'll buy some spacers temporarily. We're gonna have to fuck these wheels off, get a new set of wheels. I'll probably aim for a set of WRX wheels or RX wheels, something like that, 17s rather than these 18s. So don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, maybe comment what wheels do you think that we could get for our budget sports car. I'd like to hear your guys' feedback. It has to be on a budget. Remember, we're going to keep it under $2,000 and we've still got some other bits and pieces to get. So comment that below. Don't forget, we've got our Facebook competition going on where you have to post a photo of your car with your intake decals on there. Tag 2 of your mates to win a bunch of intake merchandise, including shirts and whatnot. We've got our new Talk to Spec stickers for sale now. And also we have a new episode of the Project Z coming. We've ordered some bits and pieces for that. So that'll come as soon as we get those parts in the mail. So until then, keep grinding those gears and sinking those beers. Peace. So 2,600 is 1,400 minus 250 is 1,150. 950, 750, 710, 680, 780, 8. Are you filming this? You fuck.
It's going off the credits.
Where was I at? 880? It's 930. So we've still got $930 to play with. That doesn't seem right. I need a calculator. Carry the 2.